Hello everyone and welcome to the Remote Chess Academy channel. I am international master from Romania, Alexandru Banzea. I'm 19 years old and my peak rating is 24-27. I am here today to have a game related to the positional aspect of the game of chess. But yeah, at first I wanna tell you that the Remote Chess Academy is one of the most educational YouTube channels that I've seen so far. So before we jump right into this, make sure to subscribe to their channel and drop a like to this video. So alright, we have a game between Dariusz Swiercz from originally from Poland, but representing the United States, facing the former United States champion Hikaru Nakamura. This game was played in the Pro Chess League in very recent game in 2020. So this game is a rapid game, by the way, but still the quality of the game is quite insane, like these players also do. In my opinion, in some cases the top players also have impressive blitz games, but okay, the blitz games still cannot be very high quality all the time. But in rapid, I think this game, by the way, I think in particular this game is showing how great of an understanding these players have. So let's just jump right into the game. Dariusz Swiercz open up with e4 and a little storyline here from Hikaru's stream. He was facing Dariusz with the black pieces and the matchup was quite tense because both teams were quite strong, and Hikaru being with the black pieces, as you know him in the recent years, he's playing very solid openings. So he went for e5, and after knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, knight f6. He played the so-called Berlin defense of the Ruy Lopez, and which Dariusz replied with short castle. You can also try to make a case for playing d3 here, but after bishop c5, black is supposed to be fine in theory. You can try this if you want to have more play, but if you like the two bishops, maybe this line is not for you, because white is playing bishop takes c6 in a lot of lines. But okay, also you can try to keep the bishop with c3 and then retreat to a4 and maybe c2, try to get some positions similar to the Gioco Piano. But alright, Dariusz went for short castle, after which Hikaru replied with knight e4, heading to the Berlin. Here Dariusz played the very solid approach with rook e1. Just to let you know, if you are not aware of the Berlin endgame, here white should play d4. I think this is the most played move, or it has the most games in the database, but nowadays not a lot of people are actually going to this line, because after knight to d6, d takes e5, okay, can be an interesting line, knight b5 a4, and you trap the knight. You will take back your knight eventually, but again, black seems to have some nice resources in this line. And the main move was to take on c6 and force this endgame, which is supposed to be fine for black. So long story short, here white is having this 4 against 3 majority on the king side, while black is trying to compensate with the bishop pair. So let's say maybe if the king was on e8, this was slightly better for black, because he had the right to castle. But okay, with the king in the center, it's a bit hard to develop your pieces, but still black is fine in these lines. So among the top players, only Maxim Vachier-Lagrave is trying this with white on a regular basis, but most of the guys have just been switched to this rook e1 line or other d3 lines. So Dariusz played rook e1. Being a team match, also he didn't want it to take a lot of risks, so rook e1 is going to be leading to some type of position that it's really hard to lose with white, and you can try to press in a long game for without much risk and for a long period of time, like it just happened. So knight d6 here should be played. I think it's good to mention that knight f6 is not very strong because of knight takes c5, and then yeah, this is just slightly better for white, something like this, and yeah, just to d4. White's going to drop back the bishop to d3, develop his knight to c3, and yeah, it's just a better version than in the game, I believe. Seems like white's tempo up. So he played knight to d6, which is the well-established main move in this position. After Dariusz replied with knight takes c5. Here black has to play bishop e7 because you cannot really take the bishop because knight c6 is a discovery, and the queen is lost because the king from e8 is in check by the rook from e1. So bishop e7 is yeah, the main move. Now bishop f1, very theoretical still. Everyone's in the book. Knight takes c5. Hikaru used to play the lines with short castle also. I've been watching him a lot, and he also tried d4, knight f5, but okay, and after, for example, let's say knight c3, or maybe just c3 because the pawn is hanging, he will play d5 and try to keep more pieces on the board, but still after d5 looks like they'll have to transpose to what happened in the game. So instead now he just took and castle d4. Black played knight e8. He is trying to, you know, get the knight to a more normal square, which is f6, and yeah, trying to exchange some pieces also. And here after knight e8 you can see that Dariusz didn't play this line just to make a draw against Hikaru. So you might think, okay, Hikaru is such a legend, such a well-known player. He's 80 rating points up for this game because Dariusz is currently at 2659 and Hikaru was 2736. So you might think Dariusz just played this for a draw, but here you can see that he was actually ambitious, because you can, for example, here just play a move such as knight c3 or yeah, something more simple, but Dariusz went for the aggressive d5, which is already creating a small imbalance to the positions, trying to get some space advantage. Here Hikaru played d6. There are also some lines where you are trying to get the bishop to c5 and then play d6, knight f6. Try to maybe attack on f2 with some queen h4, but okay, Hikaru played a more solid d6. Dariusz retreated with the rook. e1 seems to be the best square. The rook, if you go to like e4, then it can be targeted by a bishop on f5, for example. So he just played rook e1, and here, yeah, as you can see, Hikaru's pieces are a bit stuck here, so he's going for some exchanges with bishop g5, which yeah, Dariusz replies by developing his knight to c3. Hikaru has to take on c1, and now is just developing his c8 bishop to f5, which seems very natural. So also he can try to go for knight f6 here. It might also look logical to you, and you may ask yourself why he's not playing knight f6. Well, you could go for knight f6 and try to make an argument that this works, but still white should be slightly better after something like queen d4, bishop f5, and let's say queen b4, rook b8 and rook e3. White still keeps very tiny pressure, because yeah, now I can, you know, maybe rook lift to like g3, or also after I defend the c2 pawn, play something like doubling on the e file, or I can also play for some a4, a5 to gain some space on the queen side. So this looks very equal, but still it's not an immediate draw. So yeah, probably black has to play something like c5 to not be very passive, and yeah, these lines, rook e8, they are probably equal, but still the a7 pawn can be a bit weak, and I still think that white has slightly easier play. So Hikaru played bishop f5 instead in this position, and Dariusz replied with a very interesting concept. He played queen to d4. A good alternative here would have been to play bishop d3 immediately, but this is exchanging pieces in some way that Dariusz probably didn't want. This is still slightly better for white because of the space advantage, and yeah, you can try to grab some space on the queen side with some a4, maybe knight b5, knight to d4. Also queen b5 looks interesting. Also you can like try to rook lift, rook e3, rook g3. So this position has a lot of prospects for white, and with black it's hard to play because you can only play defensive moves. But okay, this, you know, it exchanged some pieces. Probably Dariusz was just thrilled about the idea to play queen d4 and follow up with h3 just to, you know, create a square for the king and yeah, take away the g4 square. It's always useful. Hikaru just play h6, and here is the concept that Dariusz came up with. Played bishop d3, and yeah, black is more or less forced to take it because if you play something like queen d7, then he can take and penetrate on the 7th, and this is already quite unpleasant for black. So you have to take on d3, and here Dariusz took with the pawn. And that's why he played queen to d4, because it was a little awkward to take with the c pawn on d3 with your queen on d1. But now the queen on d4 seems perfectly placed to do that, and you already have a very strong threat of playing knight to e4. And if black takes, then just to capture with the d pawn, and then you can try to create some pressure onto the c7 pawn, which is a backward pawn at the moment, and it's quite hard to advance it. So white also has the idea that was played later in the game to rook lift with rook e3 and rook g3. So this is already more pleasant for white, and yeah, quite tough to play with black, in my opinion. So Hikaru played a6 here, trying to take any knight b5 options away from white. And yeah, Dariusz just played rook to e3, hinting maybe to the king side with moves such as rook g3, maybe also keeping in mind doubling on the e file. But okay, the main idea is still to play knight to e4. But yeah, he didn't play it instantly, just to wait for black to see what he is going to do. So rook e8 was played, and here knight e4 was the idea. And maybe you can try to pause the video here and try to find the best move of black to try to stay in the game, because here if you just take on e4, white is going to recapture back with the d pawn, and white can play rook ec3 to target c7, and also rook g3 to attack you on the king side. So this is already quite bad for black, because yeah, you're just tied to defense. And for example, something like rook c8, rook g3, g6, rook c3 is quite awkward to meet, because f3, queen a7 is going to come, and you might just lose material. So in the game, Naka played knight to d7, but he missed a very strong move. Here he could have played knight h5, with the main idea that you are no longer available to put your rook on g3 with mating threats. And more important, after something like rook ce1, the black's idea to play f5, and yeah, basically forcing white's knight away from the center, and that would be eliminating white's most dangerous piece. And after something like f5, you have to go to g3, and still rook takes knight g3, queen g3, queen f6, b3. You still have the e6 outpost, but it's not going to give you much, and also your ruined pawn structure might start telling in an endgame. So yeah, knight h5 here would have been a brilliant way to fight here. But Hikaru instead went for the more normal looking knight d7, but this was just worse, because white has a free hand on the king side after rook g3, attacking the black's king and threatening mate on g7. Had to play the move f6. If you try something like g6, Yeah, I mean, looks very dangerous. Probably white can try something like f4, f5 to chip away your king side. Also h4 looks interesting here because you cannot take it because the pawn on c7's hanging. So g6 was looking quite weakening in my opinion. That's why he tried to to play more solid with f6, but still after rook e3, like Dariusz played in the game, now white has another idea to re-maneuver his knight from e4 to g3 and f5, then to start creating nightmares for the black's king. And here black went for a5, which had the idea to play b6 and knight c5 and solidify the queen side, but the problem is actually that the king side is quite hard to defend now, because after knight g3, knight c5, knight f5, rook takes e3, f takes e3, queen g4 is a very strong threat, and Hikaru correctly plays h5, stopping queen g4, but after the rook comes to the king side, yeah, it starts to be really hard to play. Queen d7, e4, advancing in the center. Already you can just play something like queen e3 and d4, kick away the c5 knight. Rook f8 was played, queen e3, g6, and now knight h4, attacking the pawn on g6. Queen g7 now simply d4, kicking back the knight, and after knight d7, another powerful rook lift by Dariusz. He played rook f3, already threatening knight takes on g6, and then pinning the queen. So Hikaru, sadly enough, had to play g5, yeah, simply giving up the f5 square for white, and yeah, Dariusz happily played knight f5, attacking the queen and putting the knight on a brilliant square, and he played queen h7, and now queen c3 was already winning material because it's a double attack to the c7 and a5 pawn. Here, yeah, Naka tried knight b6, queen a5, rook e8, and now Dariusz made a surprising mistake taking on d6. He could have played something like rook e3 to be more solid, which probably would have been answered by the exchange of the sacrifice of an exchange here, but yeah, still white is in full control here. Black's got no perpetuals and so on. And yeah, also queen a7 was very precise because rook e4 fails to queen b8 check. And yeah, Dariusz took on d6, and here you may want to pause the video because it's the last moment of the game where actually Naka could have stayed in the game. And yeah, he played rook a8, which was not the best move. He could actually just take a knight, and after queen b6, queen e4, rook f6, king g7, rook f2, queen takes d5, white has to play king h2 to hide his king, and yeah, he's still a pawn up and seems to have some attacking chances, but also you are running now some bigger risks of a perpetual with white, so this was not so easy to win. And yeah, it was missed by Hikaru, which was a bit surprising, but he just played rook a8, after which Dariusz played queen b5, queen e7, e5, now simply crashing through black's defenses, and yeah, fe5 was played, now knight f5 was the point, and after queen e8, he played queen e2. This is a sign that it was a rapid game, because in a classical game Dariusz would have found queen b3, which is just winning on the spot with d6 ideas, and yeah, the queen also can come via e3 to the king side. So he played queen e2, and yeah, Naka took on d5, d takes e5, knight f4, queen c4 check, king h8, queen c7. Yeah, Dariusz at some point made some small inaccuracies, but this is very understandable for a rapid game because he was approaching a time trouble. So we're not going to look at every move individually. So he played queen g6 here, knight e7, and here it's worth mentioning that Naka could have tried queen b1 check, but after the king h2, knight e2. White's got a brilliant move here to defend the g1 square. He could have played queen b6 and is threatening mate, and also defending g1. So yeah, that's why Naka did not play that. And after queen e6, so White just had a pretty easy conversion. He just played queen d6 and the rook a6, queen d8, king g7, h4. Now trying to get rid of black's pawn on the king side, queen b6 check, forcing the queens off, Irish g5, knight e2, king h2, rook e6, and from now on white's just too much material up, and yeah, he converted it pretty smoothly. King f6, a5, h4, b4, rook g7, king h1, because rook g2 you can just play e7, and after knight d5 he played rook f3, king e5, knight f5, rook g8, e7, saving the pawn from e6, also going to promote, rook e8, b5. Now you can never take on e7 because it's leading to a lost king and pawn endgame. After a6, white's just queens, and also like in the game knight f4 was played. Now Dariusz just took the pawn because yeah, obviously you cannot really take on e7 because rook f4 is going to be a fork at the end, and king e4 just a6, and still the same motif, knight d5 because rook e7 again, rook f4, and against knight d5 he just played knight g6, and yeah, they went for this endgame which is dead lost, and Hikaru just resigned in after g5. So I think this was a very nice positional game by Dariusz Swiercz, and yeah, the way he slowly outplayed Hikaru was pretty impressive, also without taking much risk. So I hope you like this video, guys, and thank you for watching, and hopefully see you in the next episode. So goodbye.